His leg was hanging off. That's not a dramatic headline. That's not social media exaggeration. That's how people inside Canada's national team described the moment everything changed. Because while the scoreboard showed a dominant 6-0 victory over Qatar, nobody was talking about the goals when the final whistle blew. They were talking about Ismael Koné. And suddenly, what was supposed to be one of the happiest moments of Canada's World Cup campaign started looking like something else entirely. A nightmare. Not just for a player, not just for a team, but potentially for a tournament that FIFA desperately wanted to showcase as the future of global football. The strangest part is that the disaster happened during what should have been right in the middle of that momentum. Everything stopped. One challenge, one split second, one moment that instantly changed the mood of an entire stadium. Witnesses described a reckless tackle from Qatar's Aimed Medbo. Players immediately knew something was wrong, not the normal kind of injury wrong, not the kind where a player rolls around before getting up. Reaches the scene, and the reason people reacted so quickly became clear almost immediately. Koné had reportedly suffered a broken tibia, Nobody cared about possession statistics. Nobody cared about the next round. The entire conversation became focused on a single question. How bad was it? And the more details emerged, the worse the situation appeared. Because Ismael Koné wasn't just another squad player. He wasn't an anonymous substitute. He wasn't somebody sitting on the edge of the roster. He was becoming one of the central figures in Canada's project. And that is what made this story so much bigger than a single injury report. To understand the reaction, you have to understand who Canada just Koné's journey has never been straightforward. He emerged as one of the brightest young talents in Canadian football. Explosive, unpredictable, fearless, the kind of midfielder who could change games with a single run. But his career path wasn't smooth. His move to Europe brought expectations, then inconsistency, then questions. Some wondered whether he would ever fully deliver on the potential everyone saw. For a while, it felt like he was stuck between being a prospect and becoming a star. And then something started clicking. His recent period at Sassuolo was beginning to look like a breakthrough. The confidence was returning. The performances were improving. The player people had been waiting to see was finally appearing, which made the timing almost cruel because just as his career seemed to be accelerating, everything came crashing to a halt. And then another layer emerged, one that made the loss even more significant. His relationship with head coach Jesse Marsch. It wasn't always smooth. There were disagreements, difficult conversations, moments of tension, but there was also trust. The kind of trust that develops when a coach sees something special in a player. Marsch believed in him, sometimes pushed him, sometimes challenged him, but always viewed him as a critical piece of Canada's future. So when Koné was carried, things became even more chaotic. Because the injury itself wasn't the end of the controversy. It was the beginning. As players gathered around the incident, emotions exploded, arguments erupted, tempers flared, the benches became involved. What should have been a straightforward disciplinary decision suddenly turned into a confrontation. A red card followed, but instead of calming the situation, it seemed to inflame it. Questions started spreading immediately. Was the tackle reckless? Was it malicious? Was it simply a horrible accident? Everyone appeared to have an answer, and almost nobody agreed. The images only made the debate more intense. Canadian players were furious. The atmosphere became toxic. And meanwhile, one player remained on the ground with a potentially career-altering injury. That contrast was impossible to ignore, because while medical staff were dealing with a devastating situation, others were still arguing over responsibility. And that's where this story takes a turn that almost feels contradictory, because it's genuine. An act that suggested he understood the damage that had been done, and for a brief moment it looked like the story might have found some level of humanity. Then another detail: what happens when the pressure gets even higher?